Penny for your thoughts.
I hate Brenda, and a bad guy hit me in the shin, and I peed all in my pants.
It's nothing a little music can't help.
Do not wear that outfit again. Check. But if you wanna keep your spleen, because I want to fit in. Sorry, you're just not terribly important to me. Did you know that when you used to debut a beat, her phone number one single song? Did you know that, Christy, there are no girls with good personalities? I don't think we should see each other anymore. It never was supposed to be. Gotta return some videotapes. Have to return some videotapes. Did you know I'm utterly insane? I like to dissect girls that ate some of their brains. Gotta return some videotapes. I'm really late. Gotta return some. I guess I was probably returning videotapes. I guess I was probably returning videotapes.
He should do his duty, and to impress him, takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death."
this.
All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to I guess this would be the new show, episode 1 of Ronin Joe, a name that was coined and drawn right from the very chat that I'm looking at right now. Absolutely, almost a year ago. Next month, Ronin Joe was created by I don't even know who. I don't even know who to give the actual credit to. It was out of a conversation we were all having. I think Kayla had bought me one of those samurai hats for my birthday, and someone said something about it. And here we go, Ronin Joe. And people like it, so we're gonna stick with it for a while. Maybe a rebranding. I don't know. Ronin Joe. I like it though. It got like a ring to it, like a gravitas or something. But here we are, Thursday night. Usually this would be the night we'd be doing and stuff, but as I've said before, Sean is off handling some things that he's handling. I have no idea really when he's going to get back. So I needed to have something to do on Thursdays. And you know what? I'm kind of bored. So I don't have very many people to stream with. So I'm just going to stream to you guys. We're going to have a conversation. I'm eager to have a conversation with the chat. So I'm hoping you guys are talkative tonight because we're going to talk about some fun stuff. I think some fun stuff. And then just cover something that I wish I actually hadn't said I was going to talk about, because jumping into the Neil Gaiman stuff is pretty weird, pretty disgusting. So some of the stuff that I was going to talk about, the article I was going to read, I actually sat down and read it. And I was like, I cannot read this live to everybody. The stuff that's in this article, I can't do it. So instead, I found a really good breakdown of the article online from another channel. And we're going to EFAP that. It's about 13 minutes. I'm going to put it onto double speed. And they're going to kind of break down the article because I don't know. I think if I had gone with some of that stuff that they talk about in the article, if you guys know what we're talking about, if you have read anything about that or paid attention to what's going on with that whole situation over the last couple of days, it's, I wish I had not made that one of the subjects today. So we're going to do that a little bit later. But I do want to cover the Daredevil trailer that dropped yesterday. I think it was, or maybe it dropped today. I don't know. Days are kind of melding together, but I want to know if you guys are excited about that trailer, because I am. We're going to go over it. I'm not going to break down. I'm not an Easter egg guy. There's a ton of videos on YouTube where people do that for a living, and go check them out. They really break it down. They pull all these things out. I just want to view it. I want to go over it and just see, what's the feeling like? Does it feel like the Netflix series, which I think was one of the best series that Marvel has ever done, written by Jeff Loeb, or at least overseen by Jeff Loeb, but a fantastic comic book writer, one of my favorites. And the first 3 seasons, or the only 3 seasons they did on Netflix, I think I still hold in high regard. I should go back and try to watch that before this series actually drops. But from what I've seen so far, I like it. I want to say hi to the chat real quick. It's not on here on my StreamYard, but number 1 in the chat and number 1 in our hearts was Hail the Lore when I posted this show last night. So thank you. Shout out to you. But we do have Dennis Kelly in the house saying hail to you, man. How's it going? John, how you doing, man? I hope you're feeling well. I think the last time I saw you in the chat, you weren't doing incredibly good, so I hope you are doing well, my friend. Great to see you here. We got Michael Pritchard in the house, and Jibba Jabba time. Let's do it. Yeah, this is gonna be kind of something new for me. Usually I'm all talking about comic book art, but we're gonna get into, I don't know, there's lots of things I would like to talk about on this channel that I haven't previous, because I've kept it to mostly comic book stuff. And I kind of, this year, I want to expand that a little bit. I want to jump into a lot of things this year, various shows. Maybe I'll do it on this show. I don't know. But I would love to get talking into some conspiracy conversations and stuff going forward and into the future. I just want to switch it up a little bit. I'm definitely going to still do the comic book stuff, so don't worry about that. Monday nights, 9 p.m., we're going to be doing the Spawn review. And right after that, or maybe on Tuesday, we'll be doing Appreciating Comic Book Art live. Kind of right now, I'm waiting for Kayla, who went through a move, to kind of get set up so she can start streaming again, and we'll get back into that. So I'll let you guys know. We got YSA in the house. Hey guys, hail the chat. Hail to you. If you guys haven't followed YSA on Twitter and or Instagram, definitely do it. Incredible art. He did a really awesome piece of Reaper Destroyer that has been out there, but the finished piece will be something that we use for issue 2, the campaign. And I'm really excited for you guys to see that once we actually get it done. But he's putting out some really awesome things. I think he's working on like some Frank Miller inspired Batman right now. That is really, really cool to see the process that he puts out there. So go check him out. Highly recommended. We've got Scary Batman Jenkins in the house. Haven't seen you in a second, man. How you doing? I'm excited that you're here. One of my favorite YouTube names ever. Timescales. Good morning from Tokyo. Did you move or are you just visiting? Because I believe you were in San Francisco, right? Member of the channel, though. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you. Another great artist in the chat, and we're just always full of great artists and creators in the chat here on this channel. Duck Bacon. Go follow his work as well. He's done some really incredible things on his own as well. Follow him on Instagram mostly, but I do see him on Twitter or X, I guess you could say as well. Great artist. Follow him as well. It's just, I can't recommend him high enough. YSA, Duck Bacon. We got some talent in the chat. Member of the channel, Cosmic Studios, Heath Ward is in the house. Hail to you, my friend. New show. Let's fucking go. Yeah, we're going to see how this goes. Flying solo. I haven't done this for a while, so you have to be patient with me. Usually I have somebody here to actually talk to, but nobody likes me anymore. It's just, you know, I got to fly solo, I guess, is what's going to happen. I'm just kidding. I'm sure somebody likes me out there. Crickets. Christopher Bouchard's in the house, member of the channel. Thank you for being here, brother. Appreciate you. Scary Batman Jenkins says, been a while. Nice to be back in the chat. Yeah, I agree, brother. Great to see you. Paulus Arts is here. I do believe he just put up a really awesome picture of Reaper Destroyer, by the way, which is my character. I am the creator, writer, artist of the book called Reaper Destroyer that is hitting people's hands as we speak. And Paulus Arts, I believe, just put up a really awesome piece on X as well. Go check that out. Pizza's in the house. Hail, brother. Good to see you. Let's see. Who have I not said hi to yet? Mark Pengrin, member of the channel. Ronin equals masterless samurai, aka Joe without Sean. Yeah, that's pretty much about right. That's pretty much about right. I get it. All right, here we go. Yeah, DD looks good, looks fire. I agree. We're gonna check that trailer out in a second. I really want to see if you guys have checked it out, which I'm hoping you have. It's been out at least for a day or so. So I want to see your guys' opinions. You like it? You hate it? Are you excited? Are you have no faith in Disney whatsoever, which I know a lot of people do out there? Or are you like me that, you know, cautiously optimistic about it all? So we'll find out. Rick Saylor, the man, the myth, the legend, is in the house. What up, bitches? What up with you? Great to see you as always. Wiley J Draws. This is true. It's a true statement. Yep. Jesus loves you. He loves you too. He loves us all. Appreciate that. Great message. I like that. Positive message to start to show out. Especially with some of the stuff that we are going to get into a little bit later, which is covering some. Oh man, I wish I hadn't said I was going to talk about the Neil Gaiman stuff. Hail the Core 20 is in the house. Let me see if I can type and talk at the same time. Hashtag C20. Thank you everybody for being here. The Core 20 are the 20 people that are usually always here in the show, in the chat. Whether you are on YouTube, whether you're on X, wherever you might be viewing, please hit the like button. Consider coming over to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Consider becoming a member. Let's help grow this thing. Share this out. Let people know we're live. If Sean was here, he'd say, go into other people's shows. You know, if you're a mod in other people's shows, put the link in there. Tell them to come over here. And if you get any flack for it, tell them it's okay. I said it. I sent you. It's all good. You know, nobody will care. You'll be all right. Let's see. Reaper Destroyer is, in my opinion, oh shit. Okay. let me reread this in a better voice. Reaper Destroyer is, in my opinion, the best comic I've ever read in many years. The art and story are top notch. Can't wait to talk about doo-doo covered. Well, what happened? Well, that I guess we can discuss that at some point a little bit later on the show. But I like the first take there. Yes, Scary Batman Jenkins is a backer of Reaper Destroyer. I really appreciate your support, brother, and I'm glad you like it. And thank you for the review. And I'm hoping anybody else that's in the chat that has backed it. Your books are coming. It's a slow process to get all these books out. 1,260 backers, and it's just me primarily, my wife and my mom doing the fulfilling. So I say this all the time. If you guys get a book or whatever, give my wife and my mom a shout out because they're doing a lot of hard work in this campaign. All right, let's do this. Let's look at this trailer. Hail the Lord says the Daredevil show looks like it's going to be all right. Unlike the past shows, I'm more hyped for comics and games this year, though. No, that's fair enough. That is fair enough. All right, let me bring this up, and I will hopefully don't get dinged by this, but we're going to do what we can do here. So this is the trailer that dropped 21 million subscribers on here. It's got, oh, look at that, 11 million views, January 15th. All right, so yesterday I was correct. All right, let's check this out. I'll try to pause it every once in a while just in case we get hit. But here we go. Daredevil, Born Again, official trailer on Disney Plus. And I got to say, I'm excited. Let's check this out.
Thank you for finding the time. I will admit, it's not entirely unpleasant.
I got to say, Vincent D'Onofrio, if I pronounce that right, just his portrayal of Kingpin has been, obviously, it's probably my favorite, being the fact that, who was it, Michael Clark Duncan? Is he the one that did the actual Daredevil movie that came out back in the early 2000s with Ben Affleck? Which, that movie is what it was. But the thing that brought so much attention to the Netflix series, I thought, was his portrayal of Kingpin. And just something about his acting. If you guys have just seen him in anything he does, he's just an incredible actor. And he brings just a sense of just legitimate just chops to this character. His facial expressions, just the way he moves, the talking, you know, like the subtleness of his voice, but he still has like that sense of intimidation or danger in it. It's just, it was really good to see him come back, even though he had a cameo in what was it, Hawkeye, the Hawkeye series. If you guys watched that, if not, you know, I checked it out just because I knew the Kingpin character was going to be in that. And it was good just to see him back. And I did not watch the Echo series. I had no desire to see that. I guess his character was in it. So this is probably going to play off it since it's all canon. But just seeing him back with Matt Murdock here in this scene is really, really awesome.
Seeing you again. A lot of time has passed.
Nice shot of the city
By
there.
the look of it,
There you
come up
go.
in the world. I could
Got
say
the gang
same
back
about
together again.
you. A mayor serves his city.
Facts. Facts.
I can see you're not entirely convinced.
Can you blame me?
I
I can't shake the feeling that you're gaming the system.
Why did you stop being a vigilante?
I love this conversation
The
between the
line
two
was
of them.
crossed.
This is great.
It's hard to come to terms with a violent nature.
Oh,
Hating the power it has over us.
let me just pause it there for a second. I remember when Disney picked this up, originally I think it was supposed to be retconned, right? Like it wasn't going to be canon to the Netflix series, which I always thought was the worst decision they could make. But once you brought Daredevil into, was it Spider-Man? Was that No Way Home that he was in? Just made that cameo appearance there in the beginning of the movie. I think they realized like how popular that Netflix series was. And it was a great decision for them not to retcon that, but to go back and make this a continuation of that original series. And I think it adds so much more that these characters are coming back now after shit. When did that series end? Was that like 10 years ago? Was it 2014? 2015, I think, was the last time that series aired on Netflix. But to see the entire cast come back and get together like this is really good. I was a huge fan. Like I said, I might be a little bit biased with this. I was a huge fan of the original series, so I'm going into this with a little bit more optimism and hope. But this trailer is doing it for me, I gotta say. Like the violence factor seems there. Like they're capturing the feel of the original series.
Sometimes peace needs to be broken. Chaos must reign.
Oh yeah. Yes, Muse. Oh, there we go.
Am I putting the hatchet down?
Oh, dude, I'm psyched to have Bernthal back as a Punisher. And I've heard some things about this story, and I don't know, maybe they did rewrites. The original idea behind some of the concept of this could be trending into a territory that maybe we're worried that they're going to go with the series, but I'm going to go into it with a little bit of optimism and hope. And everything I'm seeing out of this trailer so far, it seems like they're keeping the same kind of dark grit violence to it as we're going to see here coming up.
I was raised to believe in grace. But I was also raised
Oh, brutal.
to believe in retribution.
Now that's interesting to see the different helmets or cowls, whatever you want to call it, that Daredevil's got there. You got the black one, which I had heard that he was going to actually wear the black suit, and kind of like a version of the black suit that he wore in the 90s, the armored one. I don't know if that's happening anymore, but I would love to see it, especially after seeing that shot right there of the different helmets. I think that looks badass. You got this weird one, it's like this gray matte color. I have no idea what that is. I don't know if he's going to wear any of these or if it's just kind of like Easter eggs or teases. And of course, here's the yellow one, which I thought was kind of a cool concept. He wore it in that She-Hulk series. If you watched it, it was a horrible series. The only thing worth watching was the episodes that Daredevil was in. And besides the whole walk of shame and stuff that he had to do in that series, the actual fight scenes that they had Daredevil do in that, I thought were really awesome. And they kind of brought in a little bit more of the comic book feel of the character and his agility than they had in the original Netflix series. So I'm hoping if you can meld that a little bit with the original series and bring in a little bit more of the agility and athleticism, swinging around and doing all that kind of stuff. If you saw the series, you know what I'm talking about with the fight scene. I think that would be really cool. It'd be a good mesh of both feelings, but you're still keeping the original Netflix feel. Yeah. Whew. I think that's the character, the Muse. Don't know much about him. It was a time when I wasn't really reading comics, so I could really care less as far as the comics go. I don't know if that character is going to be very big in the series or if it's going to be kind of like an afterthought. First villain he kind of faces, maybe it brings him back out, takes him out real quick. But the biggest thing is the Kingpin. And I do believe Bullseye's in this game. Because he's just kicking his... Oh, my God. All right. Let me back that up for a second. This is what I'm talking about. Like, if anybody was worried that they were tampering down the violence, I think we're going to be fine. Ooh, look at that. Compound fracture. It might not be as bloody as the original, because that, especially the Punisher series, I mean, they really pushed the limits on the violence on the Netflix series, but I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised. March 4th. No, I'm excited. What do you guys think? Are you excited about that? I just seen that. I saw that the other day. I took a break from work when I had a chance to put my earbuds in and turn the volume up just to watch a trailer, watched it a couple of times. And I'm down with it, man. Like I'm absolutely down. One thing I'd like to see them do at some point is get the DD on his chest. That's one thing I wanted to do in the Netflix series, and they never did it. I'd like to see him finally put that DD on his chest and really signify that it is Daredevil, not just the devil of Hell's Kitchen. That's just a personal thing. Hell Lore says John back as Punisher is what's most exciting or excited. Yeah, I agree. It sounds like he's got his way because he said he wasn't returning as Punisher if he wasn't going to be as brutal as he was on Netflix. Yeah, I do remember him saying that. And that leaves me with hope that it's going to be just as brutal as a Netflix series, just as bloody. So what I would love to see if they actually in the first episode have one of those classic, like one shot take fight scenes, like down a hallway or a staircase or whatever, because they did that, I think, in every season of the Netflix series. And it was always just beautifully done. And it just kind of, tied into and just brought you into like the cinematic aspect of the fight scenes. It was very good choreography. Is that the word? Choreography? Whatever. But yeah, I hope they do that again. How does Daredevil know? That is a great question. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one, Henry. But that is it. Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it is Braille. We'll just go with that. Yeah, good point. Yeah, dude. I'm excited. March 4th, we're going to get, I can't guarantee that I'm going to sit down and actually do reviews of shows. It hasn't really been my thing. because it takes a lot of time. You got to get a panel together. But I'm sure somebody's going to do it. And if they do, I'll probably try to jump on it. Or maybe I'll just do a breakdown of the shows. But that's one of the shows this year that I'm actually really, really excited about. There's few things out of Marvel for 2025 that's coming out that actually has me excited. There's actually more stuff that's coming out that has me kind of just either meh or really worried about. Captain America, what was it? It used to be a New World Order. I know, is it now a New World? They changed the title of it, but they're trying to draw you in with the Red Hulk, and that does kind of look cool. There are elements of that show or that movie that looks like it could be cool. But all in all, like, it'll probably be something I'll wait till it gets to streaming and check it out. I don't have any desire to go in the theater to watch that. And Fantastic Four, I don't know if that's supposed to come out this year or next year, but I've been on record that I'm not excited about that series, that movie at all. At all. I mean, I think it looks, just from top to bottom, looks bad. And so I don't. They're going to have to really do a lot to prove me, to bring me back into that aspect of their cinematic stuff. There's still going to be stuff that I like. It's exciting to hear that the Russo brothers are coming back to do the Secret Wars Avengers. That's got me kind of excited because they did a great job the first time around. And it seems like, you're bringing in more Deadpool, Wolverine. I think that's going to be really cool to bring those characters back and just have them actually in the main MCU to see what the havoc they can do. So there's some things to be excited about, but for the most part, I don't know. Prove it to me, Cosmic Studios says, I'm optimistic because they scrapped what they already filmed to revamp the whole production with the original cast. That's what I'm talking about. Yep. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, because originally it was something completely different. And I remember there's a lot of people complaining the original story ideas that they were going to kind of push, had like a lot of, woke elements to it. So if they went back and corrected themselves, because I absolutely see kind of like a shift in the entire world right now, but I see a shift in entertainment of a kind of a pushback against, woke elements that have been in our entertainment for the last 8-10 years. It might not be as fast as people like, but I definitely think there's people kind of making a correction. So for them to go back and rewrite stuff, reshoot things, and try to give us, the fans of the show, the original show, more of what we're looking for, I think that's a good thing. And so I'm going to check it out. Optimistic. We're going to see what happens. And, if it's good, I'm going to say it's good, and I'm easily pleased. Like, just give me something entertaining. Like, people can tear apart shows all the time for this or that. They do it for content here on YouTube. And I get it. I get it. But I'm a lot easier when it comes to that stuff. Give me something entertaining that I can sit down for 40 minutes to an hour. And I do hope the shows are more around the 45-minute hour mark and not the 38-minute stuff that Marvel has been putting out with their TV series, because I would be really disappointed with that. The Netflix lengths of episodes were perfect. Get back to that. Tell a really good story with that amount of time. But I'll tell you, if I like it, I like it. If I don't like it, I'll let you guys know. And we'll see. Captain Do Better is gonna be shit, with a couple moments of, oh, cool. No, I agree. That's exactly what it's going to be. And they set it up that way, because I think they know. I mean, most people are not, I don't think, excited about Sam being Captain America, regardless of what you think of the actors in real life. Having Steve Rogers, that's Captain America. I get if Chris Evans didn't want to play him anymore. That is one thing. You're recasting him or you're doing something different. But Steve Rogers, that's Captain America. This new kind of push, especially after the Winter Soldier and Falcon show, where they had just the abysmal season finale where Captain America does that speech to all the senators. And it was so cringe. It was so horrible. If they can correct that and actually make a movie that appeals to everybody, I think it's going to be okay. Is it going to do great? I don't think so. Are people excited about the Red Hulk? Yeah, that looks fun. Harrison Ford, cool actor, bring him back. I get it. Get him on the show. He's replacing, can't remember the actor that died, but Colonel Ross, General Ross. What was the guy that passed away that was originally playing him? It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember. But I think it's a good casting to put him in. And so if I'm going to check that movie out, it's mainly for that scene, just to see what they're going to do and how they're going to set that up going down the line with an inevitable matchup between him and the Hulk. If you can retcon the Hulk back to, some actual badassery instead of what they did to him in Endgame and what you saw in the She-Hulk show. I mean, bury that shit, right? Marvel, please correct that, bury it. Let's just leave that in the past and let's go forward, make everything the way that it should be. And let's have some really cool content, movies, series coming out. And I think Daredevil was a great start. And let's see where it leaves us. We do have, was it Sam Elliott that was originally? Well, okay, maybe I'm thinking of, because he's still alive, William Hurt. That is, Dennis Kelly's got it. William Hurt. Yeah, he was the guy that was in the last time you saw him portrayed as General Ross. Yeah, he passed away, unfortunately. Good actor, too. But we do have the Gooch in the house. By the way, he is streaming right after this at 9 p.m. If you are in this chat while this changes, you're going to go right to his chat. I'm good like that. I set it up to send you right to the Gooch since he showed me how to do it. So, keep that on the DL. But the Gooch gifted 5 memberships, brother. Thank you so much. I love you and I appreciate you. Picked up by Dr. Ben, Thunder Beast 509, Dark Gift Comics, Lloyd Burton, and Scary Badman Jenkins all picked up memberships because of the Gooch. So if you are in the chat, give the Gooch, my good friend Jay, a thank you for that. We really appreciate you. Hojo's in the house. Now, okay. I like Hojo. We don't always agree on stuff, but I'm interested, brother, what do you think of the new Daredevil teaser? I guess it's the full-on trailer that just came out. I know you probably got opinions, and I would love to hear them in the chat. Let me know, because I'm excited about it for right now. For right now, until we watch the first episode, I'm excited about it, and I'll let you guys know what I feel about it. Henry said, not looking forward to the Fantastic Four either. Facts. Reed Richard with a mustache. Wrong. Oh, yeah, I didn't forgot about the female Silver Surfer. Oh, man, yeah, just, again, not excited at all. Wrong, just use Nova instead. It'll probably fuck up the thing as well. Yeah. Again, for them to bring in the first family of comics and just the idea they have where they put it back in the 60s, which I didn't like in the first place. Why don't you just keep everything modern? You to have them in the 60s, you're gonna have to figure out a way to get them into modern. What is it? 616 the MCU is in, and it doesn't make any sense. You're already throwing in Galactus right from the get go. That's something that should be built up to. And then you're going with the female version of Silver Surfer. That is not learning from your mistakes, right? That right there, that is going to fall flat on its face. I'm telling you, it's done. It's dead and gone, buried. Not excited about it all. Let's move on. I have no desire to watch that. I just have to keep my fingers crossed that somebody comes through and doesn't mess up the X-Men before they actually start writing and filming that movie. I know they're coming out with something called the Mutants or something like that first. Please, God, correct the issues and get those movies made and do good by it. That's all I'm asking. Okay. It's a teaser. It teases what could be. It makes me more apt to watch than anything Disney Plus has put out by a lot. Nice. Yeah. Same here, man. Same here. Again, if you missed it earlier, I was just talking about the chemistry of that cast was great in the Netflix series, and to bring them back, put them in continuity, just pick up their story, how many every years it's going to be later. Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin. Give me as many scenes with that dude as possible. He's one of my favorite actors when it comes to like that, those character driven kind of parts that he's got, and he just kills it. There's just something about his portrayal of Kingpin where I could just literally watch an entire episode of him just talking as Kingpin without having any action. Just give me that, because it's just so well done. Like, I would seriously I'd be cool with that. The Gooch, she says, I don't like how they are baiting people with the title Born Again, and it's based on the Zakarsky storyline. Bullseye looks awful, and it's Disney Plus. I get your reservations, brother. I really do. I haven't seen, like, coming off of, did they actually show Bullseye in like a costume in that trailer? Because I don't remember seeing it. I think they're bringing back the same actor, which is cool. I like that. And if they give him like a proper Bullseye costume, something like what Daredevil has, give him a little bit more to the comic book portrayal of it, I think it'd be really cool. But you're right. You got to watch out. I get it. Disney Plus is giving nobody any reasons to really be hopeful about a lot of stuff. It could be a bait and switch. It could be something completely different once you actually watch the show. There's been a couple of these TV series that have come out that have had some pretty good TV trailers, and the actual show has fallen short. Like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I thought the trailer when that came out was pretty legit. I thought that was going to be a really good show, and it turned out to be nothing like what it was going to be. Moon Knight had a really good trailer. If you guys go back and watch the original trailer when that dropped, that was actually a really good trailer. Got people excited. Watch the show. It wasn't what it was going to be. So I completely get the reservations out there when it comes to this stuff. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed, man. There's things I love in this world. I love comics. I love movies. I love the portrayal of characters when you get them into the movies. I just want them done right. You know, getting old, man. Maybe 43 years old next month. Like, I don't have a lot of time left. You know, I take it back. I got a lot of time. But you know what I'm saying? Like, the older I get, the more I want this good content to come back. Not in my 20s anymore. It's just like, oh, sweet. You know, comic book shows, comic book movies. Let's go. So we'll see. I thought that was the White Tiger, though. I don't think that's Bullseye. I think it's that White Tiger character, which I don't know too much about because I didn't really follow a lot of the comic book series. But I think that's a Latino character if I read correctly. So I don't know if we've actually seen Bullseye in his costume, because I do believe that white costume is the White Tiger. So we'll see. We'll see. I hope that I hope they do right by it. Can we all agree that Charlie Cox is completely wasted? If they get it wrong, he is great. 1000%, man. 1000%. I've seen that actor in a few things. He's been all right, but he absolutely nails the Matt Murdock Daredevil character as he's written in that series. And if they do this whole series and it's just it'll be such a waste of him coming back. And it was kind of fan driven for him to come back, right? You know, everybody, if you're going to bring Daredevil into the MCU, I mean, everybody wanted Charlie Cox to come back and portray Matt Murdock. So yes, it'll be completely wasted if this just falls through. The thing's going to be a non-binary wheelchair-bound Bush. Now that would, you know, the way that movie's looking, I can see it. Unfortunately, Henry says Daredevil looks cool. I will give it a chance. You never know; they could do it in a half decent way. Time will tell. I think that's where I'm at, Henry. I think that's exactly where I'm at. I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to allow myself to get excited. Because here's the thing: if I'm pessimistic about everything, then I'm never going to enjoy anything. Right? That's just the way I look at it. So the trailer comes out, and if it's good, I want to enjoy it. I want to be like, okay, I'm excited about it. It still might not be good. It still might suck, but I'm going to be excited at this moment because why not? Why sit here and be pessimistic about it and just continue to bring myself down? It's much the same as the Superman trailer. I know it's a very controversial thing. You've got the Snyderverse people fighting with this group and this group and this group, and you know, all these opinions, people that love it, people that hate it. The trailer itself, I thought was a really good trailer. And of course, James Gunn does good trailers. And look at all the Guardians of the Galaxy trailers were really good. The movie could still suck, but I'm allowing myself to be at least excited, even if I have my reservations about certain things when it comes to that movie in general. So we'll see. We'll see. Hope for the best, but expect the worst. No, I get it. I'm right there with you, Jeremiah. Right there with you. Welcome to the show. They should have had Charlie Houston and David Finch in charge of Moon Knight shows. Well, I mean, I don't know what David Finch would have done except for art direction, you know, but that was a show that was just wasted. It was a character that was just wasted. I don't know why they went the direction they did. They could have done so many cool things with that. You could have gone off of David Fincher's run if you really wanted to do a story, because I thought that was a fun run and great art, obviously. What they ended up doing, though, it doesn't make me excited for Moon Knight season 2, especially if you break down the actual Moon Knight season 1. I want to say that character, the Moon Knight character, the lead character title of the show, I think was in that entire series of, what was it, 8 episodes for like maybe collective 10 minutes. You know, I mean, go back and watch the amount of times he's actually in costume and the character pops up. It's so brief. It's so quick. And if you add it up with all the episodes, I swear it's like 10 minutes, 15 minutes max of the entire series that character in costume was on screen. Huge mistake. That's a huge mess up, in my opinion. All right. So the only reason I want to cover this is because I put it right into the title of my show that I was going to do it. I don't really want to do it. Scary Batman Jenkins says he was too short. He was too short too. Yeah. I like the actor. Don't get me wrong. brain farts the older I get. Can't remember his name. Chat Gooch, you know the actor's name. I like his acting, but yeah, there was a lot of things. Some streamers got to make a mountain out of a molehill until some motherfucker or something fucked. I'll give it a chance, but it only takes one slip of fuckery and I'm out. No, I'm right there with you. I think we're all on the same page. Slightly excited, to being excited, optimistic. We'll see how it goes. All right. I'll take a water here while I think about what I'm going to say here. So when I first saw the news of the Neil Gaiman, whatever you want to say, accusations, and let me be very clear, they're just accusations. And we live in the world of Me Too and all that kind of stuff. So who knows how serious you take stuff, but the more you actually dive into the story and you read the article that was put out in, I think Vulture was where everyone's getting a lot of this information from. It's bad. It's bad. And when I originally thought that I would talk about this, I was going to just kind of be like, let's pop up the article and let's read through it together. And we'll go through all the different allegations. I have to laugh a little bit because some of the stuff is like so bad. It just makes me like, yeah, okay. The whole BDSM stuff that people get into, to each their own, you do you, right? But some of the stuff that they were describing is just insane. And I was like, I don't know if I can really talk about this stuff on YouTube. I don't know what the rules are. And I was like, I don't want to get struck down first time I'm doing the show solo. So I was like, I'm not going to read the article, but I did find this video when I was on YouTube earlier today. And I don't know this particular person, but I'm going to EFAP her breakdown here. It's a 14-minute video. I'm going to put it on double speed. And she's going to basically break down the article. So I'm going to listen to what she has to say. And I want to see your guys' reaction and know what you guys think of this entire situation. If you're even keeping track of it, if you know anything about it, you're about to find out some things. And if it's true, craziness. We'll find out.
By now, you've likely heard about the allegations against Neil Gaiman. I myself made a video about it back in November, and in that video, I cited a Guardian article which summed it up pretty well. In July, an investigation by Tortoise Media reported allegations by 2 women of sexual misconduct against Gaiman, including sexual abuse and coercive behavior. Gaiman has strongly denied any unlawful conduct. One woman, whose first name is Scarlett, alleged that Gaiman performed sexual acts on her without her consent while she was working as a nanny for the author's family in New Zealand. Gaiman said they only engaged in...
One of these things that I did notice when you're looking through this entire article, if you guys have actually gone and read the article, which is insane, to say the least, the fact that most of these people, most of the girls or most of the women that are accusing Neil Gaiman of this stuff seem like they were consenting to it, or at least were a part of it and kept coming back, engaging with him in these things. And that's one of the things when I step back and I hear these accusations of, SA or grape or all that kind of stuff, is that if you are continuously coming back, like, is there really an argument where you can later on in years accuse somebody of doing something? Or are you just defaming somebody? Or are you trying to wreck somebody's career? A lot of these women signed NDAs, which means you're not supposed to be able to talk about it. And they got paid money to be quiet. So if whatever happened to them was so egregious, so bad that they were like, this is an easy fix. What will fix my pain and suffering is money. And they took it, they signed these NDAs, and now we're coming out with this. I find that a little suspect, to be honest with you.
In consensual acts. A second woman, identified only by the initial K.
Even though, let me just say, even though some of the stuff reported, if true, is just crazy.
Alleged that Gaiman penetrated her without consent. Gaiman denied any unlawful behavior. Further allegations have been made since Tortoise's original report, including by Caroline Wallner, who alleged that Gaiman pressured her to have sex with him in return for letting her live at his property in upstate New York, and made her sign a non-disclosure agreement in return for a $275,000 payment. Gaiman has said that the relationship had been entirely consensual. Since then, a lot more disturbing details.
She's going to go into some disturbing details, but I get it. Cosmic Studio says, I don't know why anyone is surprised. Just read his writings. It's filled with degenerated stuff. 100%. None of this really surprises me. If he's actually into this stuff, I get it. Not anything that I would condone or be into myself, but if that's the kind of person he is, then whatever. That's his lifestyle. I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want to judge. But the fact that if you were going to be in a relationship with this guy, or you want to get with him for whatever, because you're advancing a career or whatnot, then that's on you. If you get into those acts and you keep coming back to the same acts and then you want to complain years later, I don't understand that. I don't look at it as the way that it's portrayed here in this article. I have no love lost for Neil Gaiman at all. I've never been a big fan of his stuff, so I could really care less. I'm just kind of jumping into like this whole, it seemed to have exploded over the last couple of days. Originally, the article dropped, saw some people talking about it, read a little bit about it. I was like, oh, that's interesting, and didn't think too much of it. And all of a sudden, boom, these things are just coming out of the woodworks of all this stuff that he supposedly did to these women. And the only thing that really gets me, and she's going to talk about it, this lady Willow talks books. By the way, I'm going to try to drop the link to this video in the chat afterwards, or I mean in the description below. Go watch this actual video since I'm EFAPing it. Give it a like, subscribe to her channel, do something to help out the fact that I'm watching her video. But the only thing that I really think is disgusting is apparently he did some of this stuff in front of his kid. Can't condone that. I don't know what it was, but I never will be able to condone that if that's true. Again, all accusations and stuff has to be proven true, and it may never be proven true. Wiley J. Draws is in the house, says $275,000. This guy ever heard of prostitutes? He probably would have been better off to go with the prostitutes, you know? Yeah, 100%. All right, here we go.
Details about Gaiman's alleged behavior has come to light in the form of an article in Vulture magazine. It's a very lengthy, very in-depth piece by Lila Shapiro, and the journalistic standard on display in this article is phenomenal. Lila Shapiro is a very, very talented writer.
Let me just say, if you go to the Vulture article, you actually have to sign up. You sign up for a free trial if you actually really want to read the entire thing, which is what I did, and then just cancel it afterwards. But the fact that she's just talking about the journalistic standards, I don't really buy that anymore. Not in today's age where everything can be twisted, everything's an opinion piece, right? So anything that, even though it might look like it's, you know, the classic journalist breaking the story and investigation, all that stuff, it may not be. So just because it's out there, just because there's a story out there, just because there are people accusations, doesn't mean any of this is true. So I just want to keep that in mind as we're going forward into some of these details.
Who has gathered and delivered this information with detail and clarity and consideration. When you compare Lila Shapiro's Vulture article with the Vanity Fair piece that came out recently on Cormac McCarthy,
I mean, it could be too, I don't know.
The difference is staggering. In my opinion, the Vanity Fair article is pretty gross. It glamorizes and romanticizes really horrible things that Cormac McCarthy did. That said, if you haven't yet read this Vulture article, I need to warn you that it is a very, very upsetting read. I was completely nauseated by the thing.
That's 100% true. Maybe not necessarily upsetting, but it's definitely, when you're reading it, it's like, wow, like if that shit is true, you know, I know some of those people that get into that BDSM stuff can do some sick things. 2 girls, 1 cup. You guys know what I'm talking about. Nasty. Halo Lore says Neil Gaiman could have easily found a group of weirdos to do this stuff with. I mean, it's Neil Gaiman. How hard would it have been to find some people? Let me try that again. Have been to find people to be weird with. It probably would have been easy, for sure. But some of the stuff is like power trips, right? These guys, or even women, they get in a position of power, fame, especially if you have any kind of like narcissistic to you, you know, it's more of like the game, right? So some of the stuff they're going to get into, if this is one of those things where it was more of the game to try to get these women to do these things, you know, that's a power play, right? You know, it's a challenge to just kind of move yourself in and get away with this stuff. The thing I question is, why would anybody keep coming back? That's the only thing that's weird to me, with some of the things that are in the article.
Things that I read in the article. While I do think it's an important read, I also wouldn't blame anyone not to read it because of how it might affect them. Every trigger warning that I can think of applies to this article, so go in with that in mind. I am going to be quoting the article a few times in this video going forward, but I have to be very, very selective for 2 reasons. The first is that I respect Shapiro's work as a journalist, and I want people to read the article, so I'll link it in the description.
The
second
details.
is that the things described in the Vulture article are so disgraceful, so upsetting, so abhorrent, that I cannot repeat them in a YouTube video. The video wouldn't just get demonetized, it would be removed. That's the level of depravity described in the article.
When I found this video, that's exactly what I was worried about.
These are still allegations, nothing has been legally proven. The article is titled "There Is No Safe Word: How the Best-Selling Fantasy Author Neil Gaiman Hid the Darkest Parts of Himself for Decades." As I said, the article is long and it is disturbing, but there are 2 things that it really focuses on. The first is a detailed report of the allegations levied against him by Scarlett Pavlovich. The other is a disturbing look into Neil Gaiman's childhood, the childhood of a boy who was traumatized by the Church of Scientology. Lila Shapiro is a brilliant and talented writer. She doesn't present this backstory information into Gaiman's childhood as an excuse. She presents the abuse allegations in disturbing and upsetting detail, and then gives us a very, very detailed detailed look into Gaiman's youth growing up in the clutches of the Church of Scientology. As for the abuse allegations levied against Gaiman by Pavlovich, we begin with where it began, a very eerie and disturbing scenario in which Pavlovich, after taking on a kind of job as Amanda Palmer and Neil Gaiman's nanny, was invited by Gaiman to take a bath in a tub in their garden. A striking figure.
Normal stuff you would do with a nanny, I'm just saying.
At 61, his wild black curls threaded with strands of silver, the author picked a fig, her favorite fruit, and handed it to her. At around 8 p.m., they sat down for pizza. Gaiman
Like the temptation of Eve. Anybody get the correlation there? Fruit, temptation, handed it to him.
and poured Pavlovich a glass of rosé and then another. He drank only water. They made awkward conversation about New Zealand, about COVID.
That could have been a warning right there. If someone is giving you a bunch of alcohol and they're only drinking water.
Pavlovich had never
Just a
read
thought.
any of his works, but she was anxious to make a good impression. After she'd cleaned up their plates, Gaiman noted there was still time before they would have to pick up his son from the playdate. I've had a thought, she recalls him saying. Why don't you have a bath in the beautiful claw bathtub in the garden? It's absolutely enchanting. Pavlovich told Gaiman that she was fine as she was, but ultimately agreed. He needed to make a work call, he said, and didn't want Pavlovich to be bored. When Gaiman
Okay, none of that makes sense. You're bored, so let me draw you a bath in the garden? None of that makes sense. But it happened. Now explain that to me. Altogether. That you're putting yourself in that situation in the first place. You know, it just something seems
Gaiman
off
came
there.
back from his work call, he was naked, and then he got into the tub with her. I said, no, I'm not confident with my body, Pavlovich recalls. He said, it's okay, it's only me, just relax, just have a chat. She didn't move. He looked at her again and said, don't ruin the moment. She did as instructed, and he began to stroke her feet. At that point, she recalls, she felt a subtle terror. I can't go into any further.
You see, now if that is true, that is just what I was saying before. Like that's just the behavior of somebody. Like that's a challenge, right? That's power. You're getting that power over this chick by just getting into the bath, and you're just like, it'll be all right. Don't worry. Let me touch your feet. Let me do this. Blah blah blah. That is kind of creepy if that is true, you know. But my point would be, why would you take a bath at this dude's house? It doesn't make any sense. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't everything that is coming out against Neil Gaiman old? I think it is. Yeah. All this stuff happened years ago, and people are holding on to it now. Why would anybody care about something that took place 20 years ago if old news? You know why, man? It's people got to cancel somebody. They got to, you know, this is news. Like it's people are going to talk about it, right? I'm talking about it right now. I'm guilty of it myself. But people are going to tear into this. It's going to sell articles, it's going to get clicks, it's going to get subscribers, it's going to do all this kind of stuff. And, you know, maybe these women are looking for more money. You know, again, I hate to say, I'm not trying to point fingers at all if it's true or if it's not true. But if he paid these women once, you know, maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're back for a second time around. Weirdos need power, says Rick Saylor. 100%. And here's the thing, too. You look at guys like Neil Gaiman, no offense, not necessarily Brad Pitt, right? So the fact that he's pulling these women, I would like to see what these women look like, you know, for one. Like, what's he actually pulling, you know? But there's got to be something else involved for some of the stuff that he's getting into, and the fact that he is, unfortunately, not very attractive man. You know, God did not bless him with good looks. Maybe a good mind that attracts women. I don't know. We'll find
further
out.
detail about what happened here. But as I keep saying, it is deeply upsetting, unsettling, and horrifying. And this is the tip of the iceberg. Scarlett Pavlovich's story isn't the only one that we get in this article, but it is the one that we have the most details about. Other women have
Yeah,
brought forth
agreed.
allegations against Gaiman, and Shapiro spoke to all of them. I spoke with 4 of those women, along with 4 others whose stories share
Right.
elements with theirs. I also reviewed contemporaneous diary entries, texts, and emails with friends, messages between Gaiman and the women, and police correspondence. Most of the women were in their 20s when they met Gaiman. The youngest was 18. 2 of them worked for him. 5 were his
That was another accusation I heard kind of coming out. People were saying that some of these women were like teens. And I'm like, all right, 18 is still legal. Let's not, you can take all these disgusting things that you see in this article and you can levy all these accusations. You can say, yeah, the dude was 20 years older than these women. That doesn't make it any more gross. You know, if you're trying to say that a young woman now in their 20s is, you know, acquainted to a teenager or pedophilia, I don't agree with that at all. And I've seen a lot of people kind of try to push that narrative to make it even sound worse. There absolutely is a smear campaign going on against Gaiman right now, which is why, like, I don't have knee-jerk reactions to these kind of accusations. Let's see it play out, and nothing might happen. This just might be a smear campaign, try to cancel him, and you might see nothing happen at these allegations.
fans. With one exception, an allegation of forcible kissing from 1986 when Gaiman was in his mid-20s, the stories take place when Gaiman was in his 40s or older, a period in which he lived among the US, the UK, and New Zealand. By then, he had a reputation as an outspoken champion of women. And this is something that a lot of people have pointed out, myself included. And we've also noticed the similarities between Neil Gaiman and Joss Whedon. Both of these men are enormously rich and successful writers. They have
Yeah, they're male feminists. That's the funny thing about it, from what I've heard, and I don't, it's just what I've heard, but him and Whedon, they like identify as male feminists. So it's even more interesting. That's a red flag. If a guy ever says I'm a feminist, that's a red flag in itself.
both found enormous success in the realms of film, TV, and comic books. They have both presented themselves publicly as feminist men, writing strong female characters and speaking out on social media in support of feminism and women's rights. They've positioned themselves as good allies,
The
as
first
liberal
chink in the
men,
armor.
as men who are champions of women's rights. And both of them have faced allegations of abuse by women. Lila Shapiro herself also wrote a Vulture article about Joss Whedon. We're beginning to see a pattern here, with powerful men who position themselves as good allies to women,
1000%.
only to face
agree.
allegations of abuse against them. Now, the kinds of abusive and depraved acts that Neil Gaiman was alleged to have done are often likened in the article to
No, I
BDSM
agree with
without
that
the
too.
consent. Two of the women who have never spoken to each other compared him to an anglerfish, the deep-sea predator that uses a bulb of bioluminescence to lure prey into its jaws instead of a light.
Bioluminescence elegy. That's an interesting comparison, isn't it? I mean, I get it. They look freaky. I guess that could be. It's just that kind of. I heard that and I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's not the first thing I would have thought for describing a supposed predator. Good visual though.
One says he would dangle a floppy-haired, soft-spoken British guy. Neil Gaiman's wife, Amanda Palmer, also features
Are you telling me the soft spoken, curly haired, floppy haired English guy was what did it for these women? Because it wasn't his looks. It's just again.
heavily in this article, and I admit that since the allegations came to light, I've been wondering about her ever since. Because as a teenager, I was a big fan of Neil Gaiman's writing and Amanda Palmer's music. When the two of them
I
got
agree,
together
Rick.
and got married, that was my celebrity moment. For so many years now, Neil Gaiman and Amanda Palmer have presented themselves as an artsy and progressive power couple,
X.
and I've been wondering about Amanda Palmer's role in this, if she had one at all. The
don't even know
article
who the
answers a
hell
lot of
Amanda
those
Palmer
questions,
is.
and it's kind of what I expected. Again, I can't go into detail, and I don't really want to.
Do
I
it.
want you to read the article. But here's a little snippet from when Amanda Palmer allegedly slept with a young woman and then encouraged her to seek out Neil Gaiman as well.
Yeah, it's
The two of
kinda
them
interesting
had an
right
open
here.
marriage. Some 6 months after they met, Palmer introduced Rachel to Gaiman online, telling Rachel, "He'll love you." The two struck up a correspondence that quickly turned sexual, and Gaiman invited her to his house in Wisconsin. As she packed for the trip, she asked Palmer over email if she had any advice for pleasing Gaiman in bed. Palmer joked in response, "I think the fun is finding out on your own." With Gaiman, Rachel says there was never a blatant rupture of consent, but that he was always pressing her to do things that hurt and scared her. Looking back, she feels like Palmer gave her to him like a toy.
Okay. It's if you're going and putting yourself in that situation to have sex or to engage in some kind of sex act with the guy, and then you get there and it's whatever it is, and you decide not to walk away, or if you just caught up because you're scared or whatever, and it does turn into like an SA situation, you would not be going back, right? Am I wrong in this? You would get as far away as possible after this, and then you go to authorities, you would file a report at that moment. To go back, I don't get a lot of these women. And maybe it's not necessarily with this woman right here, but a lot of these women kept going back for this. And then you want to complain, years later.
Once again, I can't go into any real detail here, but the allegations grow increasingly disturbing over time as you continue to read the article. And there are 2 instances deeper into the article, one of which involving Scarlett Pavlovich, in which the abusive and coercive acts that Gaiman allegedly performed were done in front of his child.
Yeah,
This is
see,
where
this
the
is the
article
thing.
gets particularly upsetting and depraved.
Yeah. When I heard that, I was like, if that's true, there's no defending that at all. That is fucked up. That's the kind of thing that would piss me off, especially as a parent. I hope that's not true. I really do, because there would be no coming back from that in my mind. Yeah, all the other stuff is bad. The article is bad. You read it. Some of the stuff is just downright disgusting. But that right there, that's something wrong with you, that you would do that in front of your kids, if that's the case. So
A lot of what he was alleged to have done was done with his son in the room. There's a
Yeah,
recurring
it's fucked
theme
up.
amongst these allegations from different
it's
women
true.
of Gaiman insisting that he be referred to as master. And here's one particularly distressing moment that I can show you. A week or so into Pavlovich's time with the family, their son began to address her as slave and ordered Pavlovich to call him master. Gaiman seemed to find it amusing. Sometimes he'd say to his child in an affable tone, now, Scarlett's not a slave. You mustn't. If these allegations
See, again, stuff like that, who knows if that's true? With allegations, you kind of got to take things with a grain of salt unless there's absolute evidence for the things that someone's saying. Because you could say anything about anybody, make it sound as horrible as possible. And granted, a lot of this stuff sounds horrible. And I, myself included, you hear that stuff about the kid, and you got to really wonder. But then you follow it up with this story, maybe not. I don't know. It's all crazy.
True, the women that he has abused are not his only victims. His son is as well. As I said at the beginning, the article also dives into Neil Gaiman's childhood. When he was just a boy, the founder of the Church of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard, moved in next door. And Neil Gaiman's parents became very important members of the Church of Scientology. And the article explores the kinds of abuse.
Has anybody ever really looked into the Church of Scientology? Especially after hearing what this lady says about this. There's some crazy stuff. And there's no wonder why people come out of that religion or whatever you want to call it messed up.
That Neil Gaiman must have suffered being a child growing up in the Church of Scientology, something that Gaiman absolutely refuses to talk about.
100%.
The article talks about his novel, The Ocean at the End of the Lane, which is about his childhood in a sense. And while that novel doesn't mention Scientology, and it was originally written for Amanda Palmer, who kept wanting to know more about his childhood, the article uses the book as a jumping off point to investigate his childhood. Palmer began asking Gaiman to tell her more about his childhood in Scientology, but he seemed unable to string more than a few sentences together. When she encouraged him to continue, he would curl up on the bed into a fetal position and cry. He refused to see a therapist. Instead, he sat down to write a story that kept getting longer until it had turned into a novel. Although the child at the center of that story in many ways remains opaque, Palmer felt he had never been so open. He dedicated the book, The Ocean at the End of the Lane, to Amanda, who wanted to know. The article remarks on the fact that one belief of the Church of Scientology is that children are actually adults in small bodies. And that's like...
See, I didn't know that. To me, that's extremely messed up, if that's the case.
Psychology is a fake and dangerous science. These two things open the gate for a lot of abuse, and I can only assume that Neil Gaiman has a lot of trauma around his childhood growing up as part of the Church of Scientology. But I, just like Lila Shapiro and so many other people, am not presenting that as a defense or an excuse for anything that he is alleged to have done. When it comes to Amanda
everybody's
Palmer,
a
the
victim.
article doesn't give us anything too definitive, but we do get this, which really, really upset me. When the police contacted Palmer later that year, she declined to talk with them. Gaiman never spoke with the police either, though he did provide a written statement. Whatever feelings Palmer might have had about the situation went into a song she performed on tour in 2024. One she wrote shortly after Pavlovich's confession. It was called Wakinawa, named after a park near their homes on Waiheke. Another suicidal mass landing on my doorstep. Thanks a ton.
Yeah, it seemed like his wife wasn't really the greatest person either. Like, neither, if this is true, neither of them are really good. Blue Boy Comics is in the house. Says Neil is a piece of shit predator has used his money and power to keep his abuse hidden. He's not a good guy. I wouldn't be surprised, man. None of this really surprises me. Like I said, I'm not defending him. I'm also not saying that he did these things. I'm saying that the article, if you read it, disgusting. Don't condone the stuff if it's true. They did in front of his kids. But I have to imagine like many people that are in this situation are probably in the same boat of maybe not the greatest people.
A few more corpses in the sack. You'll get away with it. It's just the same old script. This world is shaped to have your back. You said, I'm sorry, then you ran and went and did it all again. While there is some truth and honesty to those lyrics, I just can't quite get over the fact that she turned it into a song. That's
apparently
what she did.
Amanda
she
Palmer's
turned
a
all of
singer.
This into a song.
Never heard of
As
her.
far as the police report goes, the matter has been closed, a spokesperson says. Gaiman's career, meanwhile, has been marginally affected. As I keep saying,
it probably
these
won't
are
be affected
allegations,
going
and
forward,
based
to be
on
honest
how
with
the
you.
article ends, I don't know if it'll ever go any further than that. This might be all we get. A really impeccable piece of investigative journalism.
All right, I'm going to pause it there because she just kind of goes on, closes her video. Shout out to Willow Talks Books for going over that so that I didn't have to actually read the article, which could have, I don't know, probably got me struck if I had tried to just talk about some of the stuff that's in there. All in all, it's just crazy. I doubt anything really will happen, to be honest with you. I heard that season 2 of The Sandman on Netflix is not going to be affected. If you guys like that, you guys hated it, whatever, I think that's still coming out. I think this is stuff that's just it'll be hot for a second. People will talk about it. They'll get clicks. They'll make videos kind of like this. They'll get their monetization out of it, and then they'll move on. I really don't see too much happening past that. disgusting stuff, though. If you get a chance to read the article, I'd advise you not to read the article. If you're not down with that BDS stuff, if you are, well, Lord, I was shocked. I was surprised at some of the stuff that was described, if true, that was going on. And I was like, nah, that's some freaky stuff. So not my cup of tea. But that's it. Like I said, I wish I didn't really talk about it. I put it on the title of the show when I made the show the other day. I was like, oh, we'll talk about this. We'll bring it up. And then I actually started looking into it more. And it's like, fuck, I don't want to talk about this. So shout out to Willow that I could just play her video and she could explain it while actually going into the article. That is what it is. You know, dude looks like a lady. Kind of it. Yeah. No, I agree. The movie The Master explains Scientology completely. I've not seen it. I'll have to check it out. I've never really looked too much into it, but that's pretty messed up if that is the case. Scientology is beyond whack. That shit needs to be seriously investigated. I have heard some things about like the occult, I should say, nature of Scientology, but I haven't really looked into it as much as maybe some other people. So that kind of surprised me when you talk about kids being just adults in kids' bodies. That seems like that would lead to a path that nobody wants to go down and should probably be investigated. I'm excited for the next Spawn review show. Yes, me too. Speaking of which, we're going to wrap this show up. We're going to be looking at Spawn 100 on the Spawn review Monday at 9 p.m. I don't know when Akba will be back. We're waiting for Kayla to get back set up so that she can actually stream. She's been going through a move, really busy with a lot of stuff going on in her life. When she gets back, we'll start streaming again with Appreciating Comic Book Art Live. But we will be doing the Spawn review at 9 p.m. Monday. Check that out. We're going to be looking at Spawn 100. That's been really fun going back to those old issues and checking that out with the Gooch, with Paul, with Zach when he jumps on with us. So check that out, 9 p.m. Next Thursday, I'll probably be doing this again. We'll just shoot the shit. It's been fun talking to you guys. I kind of enjoy this without Sean being around for a while. I got no out and stuff, so we'll just try to fill the time on Thursdays. I'll probably do more 8 o'clock here, just do it for about an hour. Leads right into the Gucci show, which is probably started now. So as I end this show, if you guys stay in the chat and you want to, you're going to be sent right to the Gucci's show that he's doing on Thursdays. So stick around, and if you do that, let him know that Ronin Joe sent you, especially because he dropped 5 memberships in the chat for people to pick up. Degenerate's going to be degenerate. Yeah, 100%. Scientology is weird. Just move away from that entire subject. Trust me. Yeah, it's probably not a rabbit hole I want to get down or go down, especially with some of the stuff I just heard. You know, who knows? But yeah, so this was the Ronin Joe Show, episode 1. This was kind of a last minute thing, but I'll probably come up with an intro and outro, all that good stuff. But until then, I'm just going to be using my old intros. And I will just say, if you guys haven't yet, back Reaper Destroyer. That is my book. I am the artist, writer, creator of Reaper Destroyer. It is being fulfilled as we speak. So if you back the book the first time, be patient. It is getting out there. We had 1,262 backers on the campaign. So that's a lot of orders to fulfill. And it's just me, my mom, and my wife. So again, give a shout out to my mom and my wife if you do get the book, because they've done a lot of hard work. But this is, if you watch the channel, especially with the comic book stuff that we talk about, everything that we talk about, we show the art, the era. You're going to love this book. This is about a man who's imprisoned in a supernatural suit of armor, inhabited by the ancient spirit of death, who's trying to inhabit or possess his soul. But the story is much more than that. Scary Bad Man Jenkins in the chat, he gave a really great review. He was a backer, loved the story. So we were to dive more into it once the book actually gets out there to everybody, and we will dive into it going forward, because there's some things in the first issue I want to keep a little bit of a mystery for you guys, as far as what we're going to, what the book is actually about, in the story direction we're going to. But check it out. I got some great talents, including classic or legendary inkers Matt Bat Banning and Joe Weems from Top Cow. A Dale Keown cover. It's an homage to Pitt #1. If you're big fans of Pitt, you're going to love that book. All these books came out great. Again, we are fulfilling now, so check that out if you get a chance. Links are down below. We are going to jump out of here. I will see you guys on Monday. I will always leave you guys with a message of hope and unity. And I say this to everybody out there: when times get tough, when they get rough, when they get weird, when you got to deal with BDS articles and all that kind of stuff, or maybe a lack of hope for a new Daredevil show, just remember, get up in the morning, look in the mirror, look at yourself in the eyes, and picture me naked. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
he should do his duty, and to impress him, takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
Do this.